Hello there, so good to see you again. Today's topic is a very interesting one. It is actually one thing that many people living in the West or the diaspora can relate to, because I am very sure that at some point you living in the diaspora have thought of when is the ideal time to build back home, or when is the ideal time to buy a house in the West where you live, or whether it is even ideal to build back home or not. Some also hold the opinion that it is good to have a house back home in Africa and also have one here. They also are in doubt as to which one should be more of a priority, which one should come first. Should they buy a house in the West before they build back home, or should they build back home before they buy a house in the West? So that is the discussion we are going to be having today. I am going to share my 2 cents on these issues I've spoken about. But before I do, let's take a look at this video.
My goodness, oh my goodness. Y'all don't understand. I am right here. Arrived here thinking I'm gonna get a house in a 2-story building, and this is what I've got. What am I gonna do? After several 40 some years in America, and I've been saving all kinds of money just from building a house and sending it to Obinna. This crooked brother of mine, Obinna. This is what I have. Y'all see that? We got the house sinking house. That's what this guy's got me. This is supposed to be a 2-story building. 2-story building. And what the heck? Y'all should look at it. Look at the gutter. Look at the water. Look at all over the place. Oh, Jehovah. What the heck is this? Y'all don't understand. You sit down and you work 3 jobs in America. Just work 3 jobs. You got to take care of your brother. You got to take care of your brothers and sisters. You got to take care of your nuclear family. Then you have to take care of your parents. Have to take care of all. And above all, then you save. You go into take all kinds of loans. And then this is what I've got. I have not. I trusted my brother. And I've been asking my parents, are you sure? Are you sure this little boy or this will be nice taking care of my stuff? And my parents said yes. They never came. They also trusted Obinna. Like, I mean, just look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. What am I gonna do? Oh my God. Just look at what I've got. Oh, who am I gonna report you to, Obinna?
So in the video, we saw a woman who has lived in the USA for a very long time and sent money back home to her brother to build for her. And she goes back home and she's surprised at what she's seeing, because that was not what she was expecting. A brother who she trusted so much was not truthful to her, and she is so disappointed. And so, that is a very unpleasant situation. However, this is a very common situation that many people tend to find themselves in, and that is why some people try to desist from building back home. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so and be part of this lovely family. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Do you have a personal experience you want to share with us? We'll be so happy to know. So if you do, kindly share your experience in the comment section. Have you built home yet? Have you purchased the land? What has been your experience so far? Now we are first going to look at reasons why people who prioritize building back home give for doing that. One of the very first reason they give is that home is home. Let me ask you, where is your home? Where do you call home? Home is home, yes, but where do you call home? If you are living with your spouse and your children in the West, probably you came here with your children when they were very young, and you've never gone back to Africa and you live with your family here, you this is where you live, and you do not intend going back home soon, where is your home? Probably your children cannot even speak their native languages. Where is your home? That is my simple question for people who always say home is home. Where is your home? Probably finding an answer to this question will actually help you to know where to build. Because if you are more in the West and you hardly go back home, you cannot be building back home with the intention that home is home. Home is where you are. Home is where you live more. Home is where your family is. So, yes, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Another reason why people who also prioritize building back home give is the fear of deportation. Currently, there's this man who was interviewed by a blogger in Ghana who lived in the USA for so many years and was deported. And people will argue and say that, so if a person like this had no home in their home country, what would have happened to them when they were deported? Is that reason enough for you to concentrate on building back home? In terms of deportation, I think the way out is to try to stay out of all illegalities as much as possible. You cannot be living and building back home just because you may be deported. What are you actually in that you are constantly working with the fear of being deported? I know very well that life happens. Things happen, unexpected things happen, and everyone can find themselves in some bad situation at some point in time. But let us not use the fear of deportation to just be a reason to build back home. If you are building back home, you should have more reason to do that and not just because of the fear of being deported. Another reason people who prioritize building back home normally give is how costly houses are in the West, and also how long it actually takes to pay off a mortgage. And that is true. It actually takes so long to pay off a mortgage. However, depending on you and your finances, people are able to pay mortgages off in 5 or 10 years. And we all know that even in building, you are not able to just finish building everything in a day. And we realize that most houses that people in the diaspora built back home in Africa are actually not small houses. They are mansions, and some take very, very, very long for them to complete. In fact, some never even get to complete their houses, and they happen to pass on because of the sizes of the houses they build. So yes, mortgages take a long time to pay off. But if that is your only reason for wanting to build back home, then you might want to look at it again. Moving on, I also want to share my reason why I believe that if you fall within this category of people that I am just about to discuss, then yes, you need to get a house back home. The first group of people are people who do not intend to stay here for a long time. If you do not intend to stay in the West for up to 10 years or more, then you will definitely need to get a house back home, because it doesn't take a day to build a house. It is a gradual process. So you need to start to build a house back home so that when it's time for you to go, you have a place that you are going to. The other group of people who need to get a house back home are people without legal documentations. You are not a citizen or a permanent resident of wherever you find yourself. You need to build a house back home. You need to not forget that you do not have a legal stay where you are, and be preparing a place back home so that worst case scenario, whatever happens, you are able to go back home to a place that you have prepared. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. The third group of people who need to build a house back home is people who have their immediate family back home. So if your wife and children or your parents are back home and you do not intend to relocate them to join you, and they also do not have a decent place to stay, then you need to build back home so that your immediate family will be comfortable and also have a decent place of abode. In that case, whenever you also visit home, you have a place, a comfortable place to stay. Moving on. People who also before they relocated had places were already building and the building is near completion. Buildings that are near completion can also focus on completing the building. Note that I said the buildings are near completion because money that goes into buildings do not come back unless they are completed. No matter what, you cannot give an uncompleted building out for rent or anything. You will need to complete the building before you are able to do anything with it. So if your building is not near completion, you might want to really settle very well and plan well before you know how much to invest in the building, rather than trying to rush and get it completed in the shortest possible time, and then you realize that you have pumped in so much money but still the building is nowhere near completion. And lastly, people who are building for investment purposes. If you intend to build for investment purposes, I mean, back home in Ghana we have so many nice resorts and hotels that are built by people in the diaspora, and these are for investment. So if that is your plan, then yes, you should build back home. You should take the location very seriously because the investment you intend to do may not do well at certain locations. If you are thinking of building a resort, then you should look somewhere along the beaches. If you are thinking of building a house for Airbnb, then you should look at where people would normally like to stay when they visit your country so that the business will be worth it. And yes, the Airbnb business is one business that is actually doing very well lately, so that it is one thing you can consider when you are looking at doing some sort of business with your building back home. Okay, if you have all these reasons to build back home, then you should make sure that you have a trustworthy person who will be able to supervise the work in your absence to make sure that the money you are sending back home is actually doing what you intend it to do. In actual fact, it is very important that periodically you yourself make periodic visits to supervise and see for yourself how the work is doing. If you can go for 2 weeks just to be there to see, so that you do not have the shock of staying for so long and hoping to go and meet a completed house only to see something that you cannot even identify with. You would also want to consider the safety of your investment. Looking at how much money is taking you to do whatever you want to do back home. If you had invested the money where you are, which will be better? You want to compare and know where your investments are safer and take that precaution. If it's better off investing the money here, why not? If home makes more sense to you, why not? There's no one cup fits all solution for this. The other thing you would also want to do is, if your building is a residential place, then you would want to ask yourself, what happens to this building when you are no more? If you are able to answer what happens to this building when you are no more, to your satisfaction, and that is how you want it. That if I'm no more, my family back home should take the building, because probably the children you have in the West do not intend to go and live back home, or even if they do, they might not like that building. They might have their own taste and preference for a building that they would want to buy, and that may not be the building you built. So as to whether building home is beneficial or buying a home in the West is beneficial, like I said earlier, depends on your individual situation or circumstance. If you do not intend to go back home anytime soon, then you should prioritize buying a house in the West, because you know what? Houses are mobile when you have the resources to buy them. At any point in time you are ready or you change your mind, you can sell your house in the West, and once you have that money, I am very sure that when you go back home, you can get a house at a very good location to buy. You do not need to go through the stress of buying lands and building from the scratch. One thing I also want us to take very note of is the sizes of the houses we build, because people in the diaspora often tend to build very big mansions that takes a while to complete, and most of the time when they retire and come back home, they are not even in a position to climb the stairs and all that, so they just find themselves living just in the ground floors of these houses. Wouldn't it be better if we rather build small houses that we can complete quite early, and also build a house in apartments form or something, so that you can give some out for rent if you need to. It will be easy for you to give some out for rent, or it will even be easy for you to sell some out to other people if you need to, rather than to have a whole big, like a 10 or 8 bedroom house to yourself, and all you can do is to live somewhere in the ground floor of that house because you are not in a position to climb up and all that. So yes, these are the reasons you should consider before you decide on whether it is prudent for you to build back home or to buy a house in the West where you find yourself. Or if you belong to the category where you think it is okay to have one home and have one here too, but you do not know which one to do first, then ask yourself, where is your home? Where do you usually stay? Where are you most of the time? Where are your children? Where are your children likely to stay? So if after answering these questions, it will help you to know whether to build a home back home in Africa first, or to buy a house in the West first. Guys, these are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections, and those of you with experience in building back home and all that, kindly share your experiences with us in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying with me. Do not forget to subscribe if you have not done that yet, and see you in my next video. Bye.